And today we're going to be looking at a scenario where civilization starts over. Let's get into it. This is season 2, episode 20 of the series, and we can get right into it. This episode, many things happen, specifically over here in the Americas, with a bunch of stuff in California, Mexico, and a lot of stuff around the world. Today, we're going to be starting over here with the Southern Scottish colony in Quebec. Southern Scotland is going to be forming their colony officially in Quebec. And their colony is going to look something like this. Eventually, the Southern Scottish are going to continue to explore a lot around this area over here as they go ahead and explore around this little, like bay area thingy over here and start to go north, hoping to find a lot more land. Eventually, word is going to spread to just Scotland that, hey, there's kind of a southern Scotland here. So Scotland is going to attempt to go from Iceland over to this Quebecian area, right? Or just someone over in this continent. But eventually, they will actually make a mistake and land over here in Greenland. A southern Scotland will be discovering the southern area of Greenland, and they will also be forming their own colony. And their colony is going to be very small at first, and it's going to look like this. Very small. But eventually, they're going to use this little port thingy over here in order to sail to Quebec. For now, before they plan to do that, they're going to go ahead and just take all these, go ahead and, explore a bunch of areas around here. And I forgot to fill in another tiny space. Yeah. As the Scottish will be going ahead and expanding into this colony, and this colony is becoming a decent size. Eventually, Scotland is going to decide to finally sail, and they land right here in Quebec. As they will be first starting with that, I just realized there's a lot of dots around here that I forgot to color in when coloring in this map. Yeah, there's even one there. I have to fix this later, but well. Scotland is going to discover all that little tiny area here, and the Northern Scottish, are going to go ahead and claim this as their colony. Eventually, they will be discovering this island, and eventually will be going ahead and claiming it for themselves. Eventually, Scotland, which is a very good colonizer and explorer, is going to go ahead and explore a lot around this area, and eventually will be able to explore this entire bay area over here. They won't be claiming it though. Let's go somewhere else now. Let's go to Britain, as we're going to be seeing the new Union of Britain go ahead and declare war on a nation. And that nation is going to be this green nation here, as the British will be going ahead and entering their forces over into, this area, as they quickly take its capital, which is its only major city. The city is semi-weak, but another nation is going to join in on this war in order to get some land, and that nation is going to be Southern Scotland, as the Southern Scottish take the rest. And let's look at the peace treaty of this war. It's the peace treaty of the war, as the British will be taking this little chunk of land here, and the Southern Scottish will take this land, and it looks like Britain is getting less divided. And also the British are going to decide to unite with another nation, and that nation is going to be the British nation here. As now we have a pretty large Southern English Union thingy here. Let's go to Germany now, as Germany's going to go ahead and invade the Benelux nation, as German forces will be sent over into Benelux and quickly take its capital. And the treaty of this war is pretty simple, as there's just full annexation of Benelux by Germany. And this is the second German invasion in history. It looks like Germany is getting kinda large. Let's go up north now, specifically the Swedish puppet state of Finland, as Sweden is going to be deciding to fully annex this puppet state. And Russia specifically doesn't like this, as they call them quote unquote their peoples, even though these are Swedish peoples here. Yeah. Or really Benelux peoples, but still that doesn't really matter. Yeah. And Russia's going to be declaring war on Sweden because of this. So quickly, Russia is going to send their troops over into Sweden, as they quickly take this little colony that they wanted in a sort of like sweeping motion. Sweden doesn't like this, so they are going to go ahead, mixing their own forces all into here. Eventually, we'll be going ahead and making a pretty decent area, landing, and we'll be taking this major city. But eventually, the Russians are going to go ahead and have a pretty fierce naval battle here and make a landing here, and in that motion, take this major city. Have a focus along this river as they go ahead and, well, take the entire river, including this major city. Sweden, because of this, is going to be forced to evacuate all their forces out of Finland, which basically makes them in a very bad losing position. And because of this, another nation is going to be joining this war, and that nation is the dual capital nation of Norway. Norway feels like their capitals are unsafe because of Sweden, and they are going to declare war on them in order to take land from them and keep their capital safe. As they go ahead and take this major city as well, and basically Sweden is being crushed. And that's more apparent as Denmark is going to decide to join the war on the side of themselves. Yeah, but how the military alliances here? As these guys are in the Holy French Empire. And what do they do here? But, well, the reason this is even happening is because the leader of the Holy French Empire, which in this case is Germany, has made a new law that the Holy French Empire does not respond in like an attack of war to nations that are not Germanicist or directly French religion, which is a new act, and Sweden is light blue religion, which is not directly French, so they don't respond. And the group didn't really like Sweden anyway, so they're gonna go out to Russia and say, "Hey, we'll give you Sweden, and we don't care." Yeah, and Sweden's like, what? And then, well, they just lose another major city to Norway, and because of this, well, another nation's gonna join. And that nation is the blue Swedish nation here, as they will go ahead and take a pretty large chunk of southern Sweden. Sweden is just being gobbled up. Eventually, the Russians are going to capture more land from Sweden, and Sweden is just going to surrender in this war, seeing their last, major city that is really major and is actually able to have people in it has been captured. And the final major city is captured, which is going to warrant a surrender by Sweden, and we can look at the peace treaty of this war. It's the peace treaty of this war, starting with Russia, as Russia would be annexing this Finnish piece from Sweden, and would be not annexing all of Sweden. But let me fix my L real quick, where is this tiny little pixel? What? It's always at being on the wrong line. As Russia will actually be annexing this land. And well, Russia will get all that land and more influence over this region. And also for Denmark, they will be getting this tiny Swedish land here and the rest of these Copenhagen Islands. And Denmark has united, well, Denmark. With Sweden, the Swedish nation is going to annex this land, and Norway is going to annex all this, which makes Sweden just this tiny little bit of land here. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, and that is not Swedish, so I'm going to call that in. Yeah. And Sweden, because of this, is going to be warranted as weak by a nation called Scotland. And Scotland is going to start the invasion of Sweden. Scotland invades Sweden and quickly takes its new capital, Old North Scotland to be more specific, as they go ahead and take all of this region, and eventually they will be forced to surrender in this war. And in the treaty of this war, Sweden is officially off the map. Yeah, Sweden is officially off the map, and well, that is the whole story of Sweden. Episode, what is it? Like 20. Yeah. Sweden has had a very long journey, but now they don't exist. And Norway is going to decide that they are going to remove their second capital. Yep. And they see this as the second capital is unnecessary, which does make some sense. Yeah. Let's go back to the Civil War over here. as the Swiss are going to be going ahead and absolutely destroying the rebellion, taking this major city. As they eventually go ahead and eventually push it all the way down here and fully delete it from existence. These guys have won the Civil War. But this wants division from the Holy French Empire and the Organization Slayer, to be more specific. Yeah. Let's actually go to the Alliance layer now, as a new alliance is going to be formed by Greece. Greece has done nothing ever since has barely done anything ever since the collapse of their empire 7 episodes ago. But now they formed this new alliance. What's a new shape I can use? Use triangle, circle, diamond. We haven't used hexagon. Let's see. Yep, no, pentagon. Pentagon alliance is formed. And that's interesting. And who's gonna join this alliance first? Oh, the blue team. That is interesting. Aren't these two like enemies or something? But also, what? So apparently this thing has decided, hey, if you're in the Bible religion, you can join this thing, but if you're in any other religion, you cannot join this thing. Which is kinda weird. I would be looking at if I were you, Romania. Maybe you want to join an alliance. Okay. I guess Romania heard my call. Yeah. Let's go over to Ukraine now. Wait, what? Did Ukraine ever change the capital? Well, if they never changed their capital, I guess they just did. But Russia is going to be invading Ukraine, as the Russians will be sending their forces into Ukraine for, like, another time. Yeah. As they go ahead and take this major city, and will be rapidly invading, reaching the capital, and eventually Caucasia is going to join the war and take the old capital of Ukraine, which is the most populated and biggest city of the nation. Eventually Volga is going to join in on the war, and eventually we'll be taking more land. And eventually the final nation to join the war is the not-so-liked Romanian nation, as they take this major city and just getting close to taking the capital of Romania. Eventually, the green team decides to join the war. What? Okay. But Russia is going to be very successful in their operation against Ukraine, as Ukraine is one of the historical nations of this world, but it's pushed back to its final areas as its capital is taken. And let's look at the peace treaty of this war. It's the peace treaty of this war. Starting with Romania, as they would be annexing this land from Ukraine. Next is the green team as they annex this land from Crimea. And well, Caucasia takes this land. And by the way, this major city here is the old capital. Volga will be taking this piece of land, which actually includes no major cities, which sort of makes them mad, but what can they do? And Russia will be taking this land as well. This is the end of Ukraine, an end of 2 historical nations that just happened, and many expansions for Russia. Ukraine is a nation formed in episode 3, and Sweden, a nation formed in episode 6, have both just collapsed, which is pretty large, as the world seems like it's being taken over by Russia. And this is more apparent as Volga forms the Union of Russia. Okay, I would be threatened by that. Which, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't really accept that if I were you. Yeah. Eventually, India is going to decide to form its own alliance, which is going to be... Wait, why don't we even have the shape yet? That's the Star Alliance. Yeah, stars. Yeah. This alliance is going to include Persia, and just any nation that is part of the Mesopotamian or Indian religions is going to go ahead and be allowed to join it. As Vietnam joins it, eventually the Arabian nation is going to decide to join it as well. Yeah, it's interesting. It's at least looks like it's being more divided, and this nation feels like it just has to choose a side. But eventually these 2 nations will be deciding to unite, as the Persian Union is formed. And by the way, this is not the same color as the old Iranian nation from season 1. And also, this has 2 capitals. And we have the Persian Union in all of its glory, as this thing is wanting to go on expansionist conquest up in Central Asia. Yeah, that kind of got leaked. It just got leaked that they're planning to conquest against Central Asia. And well, Central Asia doesn't like this, so whose alliance would they choose? Oh, Russia. That's interesting. Yeah. Should we go now? Let's go to Iberia, as we are going to be seeing the Portuguese nation rebel away from Iberia. The Portuguese nation, also known as the White Iberian thing, is going to go ahead. It's very nationalistic and wanting of land. So it's going to go ahead and just rebel away from Iberia. Eventually, Spain is going to rebel away from Iberia. 2 ancient nations from episode 5, eventually gone, are going to rebel away in giant movements, hoping to go against the Iberian religion. Because these people don't really like it, which sort of makes sense. Eventually, the Italians are going to decide to do what's right, quote unquote what's rightfully theirs, or their option, and invade Iberia, as they will be attempting to reform the Italian Empire. And well, this is basically the giant coalition against Iberia, as you decide to join it and take the capital. Iberia is then going to surrender, seeing that they don't have any more major cities in their nation, and they're overall just weak compared to all the rebellions and forces against them. So let's look at the peace treaty of this war. This is the peace treaty of this war. Starting with the Algerians will be taking this piece of land from Iberia, as the Algerians now look like this. The Portuguese, or the white team, are going to go ahead and get their independence, as they look like this. Spain is going to get their independence, and they look like this. And also, the final part of this war, the Italians will be annexing these 3 islands here, and, well, if I can call this in, this piece from Iberia. And Iberia, just the nation, has been deeply destroyed in this war. And Catalonia is kind of scared. Yeah, they kind of feel scared of this, so, what do they do in a situation where they are going, that they don't want to join the Holy French Empire, but they kind of declare the support for the French. So, they're going to join the organization of, well, supporting Switzerland in the cause of yellow religion or blue religion Switzerland. Yeah, this is interesting. Let's go somewhere else now. Where should we go? Let's go Greenland. Yeah. As we're starting with Greenland is going to go ahead and be more discovered. And this is all that is discovered in Greenland. Yeah, this is decently large. Quebec. We're going to be seeing both of these Swedish nations discover each other in Quebec. And Scottish are going to go ahead and rapidly claim huge chunks of Quebec, as their territorial claims look something like this, as it's the largest European colony in the Americas. Well, really the only major European colony in the Americas. Yeah. But well, let's go over to the organizations layer now, as Iberia is kicked out of this organization here. Yeah. That is interesting. But other countries are going to start to declare their support for certain sides, or really join certain alliances, as the Hexagon Alliance is going to get bigger, as this nation joins it, and so does this nation. Both these nations join the Hexagons. Yeah. And Macedonia, you're an interesting thing, definitely. Starting with Macedonia, Macedonia is going to be declared war upon by Greece, and also, well, you. As the Macedonians are being just absolutely destroyed, especially with the tiny little religious thing here that doesn't really matter to people. Yeah, people don't really like Macedonia because why people are just wondering why Macedonia exists, which sort of makes sense. Or does it? Well, eventually Southern Yugoslavia is going to decide to join the cause as they want to gain more land. Eventually Macedonia is going to lose its capital to the red team, and we can look at the peace treaty of this war. Based on the peace treaty of this war, the blue team takes this land, including the capital city of Macedonia, which the red team doesn't like, but the red team gets this land, and the Yugoslav thingy gets this. And well, we can obviously remove this capital off the map, and oh my, why does the Macedonian religion exist? As well, yep, that's gone. The second religion in history to be deleted off the map. That is a very interesting, thing that has happened. But let's go to Switzerland, as the Swiss rebellion is going to pop up once again. And this time, the Swiss are ready to fight, and they are in the Yellow Alliance, and the Swiss will start to enter their troops over into the Swiss country. In Switzerland, the brown Swiss country is rebelled, and well, this is going to cause a split in the Holy French Empire. Lithuania decides to leave the Holy French Empire after this. And well, the Holy French Empire is very split, and the organization's layer is also split, as the Economical Alliance is also going to lose all of its members that are part of the Yellow Team religion, including Estonia, which is interesting as they are Estonianist. Yeah, but this is going to warrant sides to be chosen. The organizations layer, or the organizations, have become military alliances. Yeah, and this is going to continue the split of the Holy French Empire. As the Holy French Empire is gone, it's collapsed, yeah. And eventually, both the alliances are going to declare war on each other. The 4-point star alliance and the 6-point star alliances are going to declare war upon each other in an incident that happens over here in Slovenia. As that does not happen, as Slovenia accidentally enters troops over into Switzerland, which is going to cause the Holy French Empire to declare war on the Yellow Team Religious Alliance. Eventually, fighting is going to start to happen as troops are on the borders of these nations. Eventually, Russia is going to decide to invade Estonia, as they go ahead and invade and take their capital very quickly. And in the midst of this very quick war, a simple but yet effective mistake happens by the Russian military. Russia will be accidentally entering troops into this major city, which is going to warrant a response by Lithuania to declare war on Russia. And this is the largest event, some of the big events in history as well. This is the official First World War. This is World War Zero, and eventually the Holy French Empire versus the Yellow Team Religious Alliance versus Russia. Welcome to the War of Faiths. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization started over. See the next episode where we are going to see World War Zero, or the start of it, also known as the War of Faiths. Bye!